Welcome back to another episode of Making the Leap. We're so glad to have you with us today.
Yep.
Just so much happened when we were out in Houston.
Wasn't that fun?
Oh my gosh, I had such a great time. We hadn't been on location like that ever, really, like gone and done something.
Never. And we were grateful to be invited.
Yes, and speak with people that are just doing incredible things for kids.
The thing is, when we went down there, we got so much information. We talked to so many great people. And by the way, this is not the only, last week was not the only star-studded episode.
No.
If you thought Kirk Cameron was as good as it gets, here's something I didn't know. Can I be perfectly honest with you as we go into today's show? You're going to hear a conversation with a woman that, I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't know. And then we told our kids that we'd met her.
Yes.
And they squealed like we'd just met. I don't know.
It's so funny because when I did see her, it bugged me. I'm like, I know that face. I know that face. I know that face. And I finally, the connections were made. And I figured out she had been on a show that our kids had watched when they were little. And as soon as I heard, I was like, oh.
What's it called? Goodbye, Charlie. Hello, Charlie. What's it? Something, Charlie.
Good Luck, Charlie.
Good Luck, Charlie.
Yes.
It's a Disney show.
Yes.
Her name's Leigh-Allyn Baker. Mm-hmm. And she's a hugely popular star.
Yes.
Like, she's got hundreds of thousands of Instagram followers.
Yes.
And the kids know her and love her. And in fact, a couple of our ambassadors, I just met the ambassadors the other day who had said they'd gone down to see her speak at a Turning Point event. And they're referring to her as America's mom.
Right, because she was this mom on the show, and she was funny and kind, and the kids loved her. And I'm telling you, I literally would send pictures to the kids. I was like, do you remember that show? Guess who I met today? And shut up, no way.
They are so, she's a hugely popular star with young people.
Yeah, well, right, who are not young anymore, but we watched Good Luck Charlie when they were little. You weren't home as much because you were working.
Yeah, but what's so cool about her is 20-something-year-old kids today, and I say kids because they're much older, half our age. Mm-hmm. She's going to these Turning Point events. She's speaking to young women.
And they recognize her.
She's talking about motherhood. Mm-hmm. She's talking about entertainment, the entertainment culture.
Yep.
We get into a little bit about her background from Disney, which I didn't know anything about. And we're kind of standing in their production area. I feel like a dope. Can I be honest? We left the thing you're going to listen to or watch with her. I didn't know who she was. And after we got on the plane and saw her Instagram and all that, I thought, I should have. So anyway, but
so
the conversation is still great.
Yes.
We also talk with Eric Presley, who's a producer and writer on The Adventures of Iggy and Mr. Kirk.
And that was just so fun to see in action, see what they were doing, how they were creating.
He gave us a tour of the set.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? We got to go to the treehouse and the whole thing. And then we also talked with Zach Bell, who was kind of instrumental in making the whole thing happen. He's the chief strategic officer, one of the big brains behind Brave Books. These guys.
Right. And if you haven't checked out Brave Books, I would definitely go and do that.
These guys are changing the game in terms of children's entertainment and literature and the whole thing.
And what's so cool is that they are really, I think they're thinking forward, thinking about like one thing that they mentioned that we talked about kind of off camera with them a little bit was the idea that so many schools are struggling when they're bringing in programs like Scholastic Books. Yep. And so their goal is to get into places like different schools, offer an option, an alternative to the Scholastic Books that are overrun with a lot of material and junk that a lot of parents just don't want for their kids. And they're coming in with quality content and books, having with the writers, they have different people read these books, and then they come into play, or they want to come into places and provide these books as an option for book sales and things like that.
So enjoy this part 2 trip down to College Station, Texas, where we were on the set and behind the scenes with The Adventures of Iggy and Mr. Kirk and the Brave Books team. Check it out. So the brains behind this show, it takes a lot of people to make a show look this good and watchable and entertaining, and this is one of the gentlemen who does it. Eric Presley is one of the producers and writers on Adventures with Iggy and Mr. Kirk, and nice to meet you, Eric.
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
What a great job. This we were talking with Kirk a little while ago, and this is a beautiful, first of all, it's a beautiful set. It takes a lot to invest in this before you ever put somebody on a camera.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, we've been working on this since last year, coming up with the vision of the show, the treehouse, and bringing it into our world with our books, for it all to come together. And by the work of a ton of talented people and a lot of writers and Kirk coming in, it's just come together so well.
What is one of your favorite pieces of the set back here? We have a lot going on. So what do you think is your favorite, if you had to guess? Or if you had to pick, I should say.
There's a lot of really fun.
A lot of great spots
it's
for the
hard
puppets.
to make a choice.
Yeah.
You're on the
We've got our Freedom Island map over here. We've got a fun sum. I don't know if they showed you this. Can I move on?
Please, go ahead.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So this is where they do story time.
Yes.
And then he always tucks Iggy in at night, every night. And we have a sweet tuck in, a blessing, and he does a lullaby there that we have recorded. That's fun. And then sometimes on some episodes, Iggy will pop out of the tree right there.
That's great.
And he'll stick out, which is super fun. So yeah, I love our little corner here. It's a lot of warmth and heart there.
So can I say, Eric, this is not inexpensive to do, and oftentimes really quality programming is, let's just be blunt, it doesn't always look great. This looks great. It looks high value. It's sharp, and that's important, isn't it, in order to compete in the space?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the effort that the team brought here. You know, when we came and worked with Texas Filmworks, they were very clear on the vision and the quality that we wanted. You know, the treehouse, the porch scene, they wanted it to look like we're outside. And, you know, we take pictures, and I'll show my wife the pictures, and she's like, yeah, it just looks like you're on a treehouse outside. I'm like, no, but we're inside a building. It's so fun. It's so cool when you're up there.
That's fantastic.
And so you see the leaves coming down on you from the lighting, and you know, they've programmed the lights to hit sunset and nighttime and morning. It's really fun.
So much that I would not ever think about when I'm watching something from my couch. So it's so amazing to be back here to see it happen.
Well, and you guys are literally in the middle of your production day, so you were nice enough to invite us here on the set. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you so much.
And,
So glad to
and
have
good luck
you.
with the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks,
you.
Eric.
Again.
Thank you.
Here we are in production central of Brave Books. This is sort of where the production meets the brains, and the brains of Brave Books, one of the brains anyway. I know you wouldn't want to say it that way, but I think you are. Chief Strategic Officer here at Brave Books is Zach Bell. Zach, good to see you.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for being here, traveling all this way to be in College Station, Texas, where we're filming the new show, Adventures of Iggy and Mr. Kirk. It's excited to have you guys here.
Well, look, we have been fascinated to see all that happens in really a relatively smaller space. You know, people on TV, everything looks bigger, right, on TV, but you guys have done a tremendous amount of work in a really compact amount of time.
That's right, and it really started 2 years ago. The development began then, trying to think about where we were trying to take the Brave Books series, the development of the overarching storyline that we're trying to tell through the Freedom Island book series, and we knew at some point we were going to take it to the screen and in some form or fashion with a TV show, and here we are, and it's taken a lot of talented people to get involved and to create the set, develop the scripts, and get the talent all here. So here we are today.
That's awesome.
Can you talk a little bit about, for people that are not familiar with Brave Books? I know there's sagas and there's, versus maybe a series. Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like for people that are interested?
Sure. Well, Brave Books is a Christian conservative publishing company, and what we do is we come out with a new book each month that teaches a different value or lesson. And the cool thing about the Brave Books series is that each book plays into each other. So there's an overarching story being told throughout the entire series, and each saga is made up of 10 books. And so we're doing 5 sagas, so 50 books total. And there's good guys, there's bad guys, there's Team Brave, Bongo, Rebel, Asher, Valor, and Eva, which spells brave. And character development, kids are falling in love with the world, they're falling in love with the characters, while all the time they're learning good morals and values so that their character is being built up so that they can one day defend our Freedom Island, the United States.
Our president of the Herzog Foundation actually said to us when we were coming down here, he said, I send my grandkids Brave Books.
No way.
And that's the thing. You guys are on, for people that don't know about it, you can subscribe and get these regularly in the mail.
Like a monthly.
It's a monthly subscription, kids, grandkids, they really love getting something in the mail. And a Brave Book is super special. And inside the Brave Book, there's games and activities and a talk about it section that the parents or grandparents can interact with their kids on, and just reinforces the values in the books.
Zach, the vision of Brave Books when you started, was it strictly books, or did you know you were going to go into the TV as well?
Well, when we first started, our founder, Trent Talbot, a former ophthalmologist by trade, he's a visionary guy. So he wanted to build something that wouldn't just be a book company, but that would one day be an entertainment company that parents can trust with their kids' imagination whether it's through books or through TV screens or with maybe a movie one day, or maybe a theme park. You never know.
Right.
We
Big
want
dreams.
that. We have big dreams, and we want to be a brand that people can trust with their kids' imaginations. And wherever that takes us, we're going to step into it confidently and do what we do.
I think that's massively important when you talk about all the different corporations. I won't name any, but the ones that no longer are trustworthy
Right.
by parents. And I think that's something that people can really get behind, which is one of the reasons we wanted to come out here, was to also help encourage parents to get behind what's happening here.
That's right. And what I said to Kirk in a previous conversation was, you guys do this at a high level. I mean, there are a lot of people I think that have tried it, and if I could be just out of respect, I don't mean any insult, but it takes money, it takes effort and energy and people, and that takes investment. And a lot of times to do it on the cheap just doesn't connect
No.
the way you guys are.
It doesn't, and we know that,
Yeah.
and we are aware of the space that we're in, and that was one thing that we were not going to sacrifice on, would be quality. We wanted to create something that is super high quality, because in order to capture the kids' imagination, it needs to be that. I mean, we're going up against some of those corporations that you're
Right.
talking about that have endless amount of funds to create really awesome content. Just what's being promoted inside that content is not healthy and good for kids. And so we knew that if we were going to compete in the space, that we were going to need to provide a high quality product in the market so that parents and grandparents would be attracted to it, and the kids would be attracted to it. So that's what we set out to do, and I think we're doing it. We're giving it all we've got.
The
Absolutely.
vision of Brave Books, 5 years, 10 years from now, do you talk much about that, or is it 1 year at a time?
We try to keep it 1 year at a time, but we do have a 5-year, 10-year vision plan, and it's to continue to build a brand that will continually be expanding, in that we're reaching more and more people every single day. So 5 years from now, we've got TV shows, movies. We've got more. The books are completed with the picture books, and we're into chapter books and middle grade novels. And we've got curriculums that homeschooling families can utilize to help teach their kids good morals and good values, or curriculums even for homeschooling families. And so that's 5-10 years from now. Those are the things that we want to accomplish. We want to do the things that we're on our plate that's on our plate now really well. So we're all in on the TV show and the picture books, and we're eagerly awaiting the time when we can take advancements into the next chapter and the next season.
We are so appreciative to you and the Brave Books team for inviting us here to College Station to see what you do behind the scenes. It was such a generous invitation, and it's so eye-opening. The talent that's invested in what you're doing here is so exciting. Thank you
And
for
the
the
focus on the
opportunity.
greater good,
Yes.
the focus
Yeah.
on the bigger picture, which not many do.
Well, thank you for saying that. I'm happy that you guys are here, and you guys are our guests today. Glory to God for all that we're doing and all that we've accomplished thus far. I don't want to take any of the credit, because there's something bigger going on here. So
None of us can, right? None of
Yeah.
us can take that credit.
Well, this won't
for
be the
sure.
last time we visit with Brave Books, I know that, but thank you again, and we'll
Yeah.
see you very soon, Zach.
yeah, sounds good.
You know, it takes a lot of people to make a show like this one, and we're looking at another one here. One of the brains behind this project, as well as one of the folks you're going to see on camera.
I was going to say
with
one of the talents we've
yeah,
got
one of the
standing
talents.
with us, right?
Leigh-Allyn Baker is producer, writer, and one of the stars of Adventures with Iggy and Mr. Kirk. Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you for joining us.
It's our honor. Where in the whole process of this project did you come into play? It sounds like you've been in on the ground floor.
Well, they had kind of started with this idea, and they wanted to bring me in as a guest star to do certain episodes, and then I had just a lot of ideas, and as
Don't
I
we all know
do,
that's good,
I
right?
decided I wanted to help build this house, and so I put on my tool belts and got to work, like helping with writing the scripts and just building the foundation for the show.
So is that part of your background then? Kind of your, just with the fact that you like writing and things like that? Because that's a
Yeah.
little bit different than being part of the
Writing.
voice and being in it.
Yeah, writing, producing. So I've done that. I did that for Disney for a bit. So that's where most of my experience is for kids programming.
Now, could we get into that a little
Go
bit?
for it, my
okay,
friend. This
here we
doesn't
go.
seem to
Here we
be an
go.
off-limit
Well, I
subject.
know, and I specifically earlier said I won't name corporations.
Yeah, but
yeah,
since
here
you
we
did,
are.
here we
Yeah,
are.
I mean, I worked with them for years.
Are
years.
you okay? So we were just talking about one of our favorite trips raising our children was to Disney.
It's the best. It's the best. It's the worst, but it's the
Now,
best.
what happened? What happened? Tell us what happened.
Well, do you really want me to go into detail of what I think? Well, I mean, I think there's like a global plan going on for like this ESG system that's trying to be implemented with corporations. And so what happens is some of these people may not necessarily agree with you, but they're going to check these boxes, which isn't even a legit organization. So it's as if I went around with a yellow vest and said, I'm going to need you to not park there because of the Leigh-Allyn Baker zoning code says no. And they're like, okay, well, we don't want a violation, so we'll do what you say. That's kind of what's happening. And, I kind of am of the thought of God gave us free will, and people are allowed to make the decisions however they want, whether I agree or disagree. I believe that they have the choice to make those decisions. But when you start infiltrating schools and children and cutting off body parts is where I draw the line.
So you think Disney was sort of pressured or hijacked, not so much that's a core tenet of their own belief as much as they felt pressure externally to adhere?
Look, I'm guessing here, but I can't imagine they would willingly want to offend their majority of their demographic.
Which they have. Isn't that odd?
100%.
Yeah. And they've driven, we've seen Stock Tank, we've seen people going to the park the whole thing.
Yes.
It was it was a license to print money for decades.
Yeah, and then so I'm guessing that that's what it is. I do know people there that I know, children's innocence when I was on Good Luck Charlie was really protected. I mean, they didn't want to show a kiss between anybody. Like, it was just not the place in children's programming.
Right.
And so now it's like, I don't know, it feels like the wheels have fallen off the bus.
That wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't that long ago. It happened very fast, didn't it?
Well, and I was just going to say, our kids watched that show. So
Sure.
just in that short, and they're not old.
Right.
I mean, they're
Late
upper late teenagers.
Right, so just in this realm of the pandemic, lots of little weird things were implemented that I don't agree with at all, full stop.
Well, and then the other piece of the thing that you just said that I was like, yes, just the jump in on what's appropriate for children, what's not appropriate for children,
Right.
and who decides that.
Right, I mean, you can't hide children from, look, people in the world all feel differently than one another. Sure. Well, great, because we are given the free will to do so. But when it comes to really indoctrinating kids, like when we are behind in math proficiency and reading skills, and then they want to talk about how you can be another gender.
Right.
When you're a
In
child,
first
like when I
grade,
was a
right.
kid, I wanted to be like a dog. Oh, but guess what? You can now.
Right.
They're called furries. Like, you can be that.
Instead of just saying no.
Right. It's just so bizarre. It's like, when did we start taking either pretend or a child's imagination, and when did we start saying that that's the reality, and when did we start taking like really what can be classified in certain stages as a mental illness of body dysmorphia, and saying, oh, change the outside to fix your inside. You'll be a slave to pharma for the rest of your life, and you'll die early because of being on a basket full of medication forever. When was that the option?
Amazing. And Leigh-Allyn, is that why you came to work with Brave Books and the show? Did you see it as a personal kind of passion project?
Yeah, I love doing children's programming. I think that it takes some real smarts to make something funny without using like dirty humor. I mean, I did it for years on Good Luck Charlie. It's hard work. You have to genuinely be funny. You
Yes.
can't fake it.
Right.
And so, I was really interested in, serving our kids. Look, here's the deal, guys. The lane for programming like this is wide open. No one wants to drive on it. So I'm like, I got a car. I got a bag. Let's go.
I didn't even think to ask you, do you have children?
I do have children. I have an 11-year-old and a 15-year-old.
Oh, so this is kind of personal to you, what they've consumed over the years.
Yes, absolutely. And then I watched what happened with the pandemics and became a homeschooling mom.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and we became parents that were like, this is not okay with what we were seeing in school, moved one of our children out of the arena of public ed as well. And I think that is what's happening. Obviously, it's what's happening across the country in ways that is vocal and verbal, like you are with the good
Yes.
platform, and then the people that are doing it quietly.
How do you recommend to people that are thinking about it? That's why we started this show a couple of years ago, was to talk to people who were, they had misgivings, or they didn't really understand what private education, Christian education, homeschooling meant, or could they do it, or is that weird, or are the kids weird that do it, right?
Oh my
There's a lot of
gosh.
hang-ups, so...
If I can do it, like, no joke, you can do it. Like, they have programs that where you're like, oh, wow, this even has like a daily schedule for me to follow. And, oh, I can teach a child of different ages. I can teach them both the same thing. They just have different requirements and different levels of work that they would put into it. And then you start to realize, wait a second, I would never learn to do taxes. I never learned to balance a budget. I never learned what a home mortgage is or how to start a business. I can teach my kid that.
Yes.
I never learned about nutrition and all the bones, muscles, and organs in the body and what supplements help them to grow and stay in line.
Right.
And guess what? I can teach my kids that now, because guess who the principal is? Who has 2 thumbs and is principal of her kid's school? This girl.
I love it. It is such a pleasure to meet you, and I can't wait to see the great things that happen with this show. We're just in season 1.
Yeah, we're just at the beginning stages.
So we're
Very
going to keep
fun.
watching, and I hope people will check the show out, and we are grateful for your time,
So
Leigh-Allyn.
glad.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Fun. That was a good one.
It was so fun. I'm glad we're not in Houston, where it
That
was
was-
sweltering. It was so hot.
By the way,
So much.
my very first experience with a Buc-ee's.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I had forgotten about
We
Buc-ee's.
flew into Houston, and then we had to drive to College Station, and it was the first and only time that I had ever seen a Buc-ee's. That was our
Yes,
that
and
a
it
little
was a
cultural
cool.
side
It was
trip.
really neat. It was neat to pop in there. So just all around, first for us in every different way. I
Yeah.
will say, if you have not checked out Brave Books, if you haven't looked at them, they're working. I don't know if I should call it crowdfunding,
Well,
but they are
They're-
soliciting.
They're trying to fund these efforts that you've been
these-
hearing about
the
on
TV
these shows.
the books, the having the people come in and read them, all that. So if you're interested in contributing to that, if you're interested in checking it out, go ahead and go to bravebooks.us
Yes.
and you click on the TV tab that they have there, and that will go ahead and allow you to contribute to what is quality programming, no hidden agendas, nothing but love of country, love of God, love of family. Definitely something that's not happening on your regular scheduled programming that your children might
Yeah,
watch.
Brave is not only partnered with Kirk Cameron and Leigh-Allyn Baker, they've partnered with our friend Kevin Sorbo, Sam's husband.
Yes.
They've partnered with Sean Spicer. They've partnered with Riley Gaines to write these children's books.
And
co-author
then
these
bring
books.
them to the TV arena for people. So they need help. They need help from people like you, people like us, to go ahead and make that come to fruition.
And
so
I would check out their
that
website too, because Kirk is going to be traveling and doing a tour through churches
Yes.
I
Yes.
think this year, later in the
Yes.
fall. But it's all at bravebooks.us. So we cannot thank the people at Brave Books enough for being so hospitable to
tremendous.
us. And we
So
wish them all
tremendous.
the very best. They are doing the Lord's work for sure. So that was pretty cool.
It was.
A 2-parter from the road. Until next week, we'll see you right here on Making the Leap.
Making the Leap is a podcast presentation courtesy of the Herzog Foundation. Please like and subscribe to the show and turn on notifications so that you never miss an episode. We'll see you next time on Making the Leap.